So how many of you know what epilepsy is? For those of you who do know what it is, you will sort of understand the effects that it has on a person and the people that are around them. I've dealt with this since I was in 3rd grade, which is crazy, long time. It started as something that's known as absent seizures and later developed into something that's a bit more severe, known as grand mal seizures, or something that's called tonic-clonic. There are many different causes to what could cause epilepsy. So it's very hard to pinpoint what could cause one certain thing. It can be from a head injury, it could be genetic. They aren't very completely sure how it's genetic, but it's an idea. And also being deprived from oxygen at birth. What's best to understand of all of this is what it is, what the symptoms are, what the triggers are, and how it's dealt with at the end. This will include what it is, the 2 most common types of seizures, and the symptoms. A seizure is a brief disturbance in the brain's electrical activity. I tell you what a seizure is before I tell you what epilepsy is, so that you can better understand what epilepsy is. Because epilepsy is a disorder characterized by reoccurring seizures. And this information came from the Epilepsy Foundation, from an article called What is Epilepsy? According to Patty Schaefer, the Epilepsy Foundation, 65 million people nationwide have epilepsy, and 3.4 million people in the US have epilepsy, and 150,000 new cases happen each year. Absent seizures, as I said before, is what I started off with. They're just staring blankly into space, you know, you're having a conversation with someone, and out of nowhere, you're just blank. Tonic-clonic is probably one of the most severe. You are shaking on the ground. Once it's done, it should only last about a few seconds. If it lasts any longer than 5 minutes, that's when it starts becoming very, very dangerous. You lose oxygen to your brain, which then leads to death, or really just losing brain cells to that point. You're left with temporary amnesia. You don't really remember what happened because you're constantly in and out of consciousness. You don't really feel, you know, there's really a lot of weakness in your limbs, a lot of nausea, a lot of fatigue, and there's possibility of getting concussions. A lot of people do tend to bite their tongues, so they end up with scars on both sides. Besides the 2 that I just told you, there are 4 other kinds: tonic, atonic, clonic, and myoclonic. And this was from the Mayo Clinic staff. There is something that's known as SUDEP, sudden unexpected death in epilepsy.
Yeah,
which could always occur. And this is most common in kids. Epilepsy is most common in kids. So you can just imagine how it is for a parent. The CDC have done studies that suggest each year there are about 1.16 cases of SUDEP for every 1,000 people with epilepsy. For children or youth that are diagnosed, there's a possibility they could grow out of it. This is why there are some that are called juvenile. But once you've reached a certain age, if you still have it, you are then told that you'll have it for life. and there's not much to it after that. There are many forms of treatment: medication, surgeries, and an implant that connects to your heart. And once it detects that your heart rate is increasing, it sends a signal to your brain to calm you down. Besides all of this, you could still live a normal life. You can look at me. I still lived a normal life, although I can't drive, although I still am living, going to college, just like many others could.